whenever you're ready. But
All right, and just to start us off, can I just get full name, spelling, um, and title, and organization name?
yeah, Jeff Edrington, Jeffedrington, Will You Help Inc. My title is the founder of Will You Help, and it's Will, the letter U, help.life is the website.
Excellent. And you don't have to look at the camera. You can look at
Oh,
me.
okay,
Yeah,
cool.
you don't have to look at the camera.
Oh, even better.
Yeah,
Okay, you got that.
It's hard for me to do this. Hard for me to look into a camera, so I don't expect anybody else to be able to. And it looks fine if you just look in.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course. So just tell us a little bit about what you've been doing this past week.
Yeah, so I came here. I had shipped 500 backpacks up here to Georgetown Ministry Center. They were nice enough to let me ship them up here, and rented a minivan and put them in the back of the minivan. And I've been going around on the streets. I've been going to homeless organizations. Let's see, Martha's Kitchen, Georgetown Ministry Center, 1313 New York Avenue. There is and handing out the backpacks. There's a few more, but I'm trying to go where the masses are when they all come to eat. Some is another organization. Mm-hmm. So I would show up right before they were serving a meal, and then that's where I learned to try to get in front of the masses. Handing out backpacks, saying prayers when people want to pray. I love giving hugs and fist pumps. And I can talk more about that, the hug part. But we typically do three things when we go out on the street. One is we embrace and we give long hugs. Two is we give message backpacks, and I can show you those. Show you that right here. These are 60-liter backpacks, and inside we give them a permanent marker so that they can share whatever message they want with the world. Some you'll see could use a hug. Anything helps, right? So we give them this. It's a waterproof backpack, and that helps give them a voice. So we want to give them a voice as well. And the third thing we do is we focus on reconnecting them to lost loved ones. And so how that works is we go out and just say, hey, is there anybody here that'd like to reconnect with a loved one? Maybe it was a mentor, maybe it was a coach, maybe it was a pastor, someone that saw value in you. Is there some way we can reconnect you with? Because what we have found is that is the fastest way we can get someone off the street. No red tape. We go out. Let's just say, you for instance, you say, hey, I wanted to reconnect with my sister. I haven't seen her in 10 years. I last knew she lived in Dallas, Texas. That's all I know. Okay, great. What was her name? Dallas, Texas. So then I go in and I access public databases to try to locate the sister's cell number. I would take a video of a 30-second video, and I'd say, hey, tell me what you want to tell your sister. I would take that video and then I would text it to your sister, and say, hey, would you like to reconnect? This is your brother. I'm with Will You Help? We focus on reconnecting lost loved ones. And if the sister says yes, that's where the magic really starts to happen, because usually they have the means to help take someone off the street. And so that's the third and final thing that we do and what we really focus on.
Yeah, just tell us, it doesn't have to be one from this trip, but just tell us about a story where you connected with somebody, with their loved one, and it just changed their life. They were off the street and they were on a better path after that.
Yeah, I've actually got some videos I can show you. So I had a volunteer, I'm at home in Georgia, on a Sunday, a volunteer up in Tennessee picked up a guy. They work in they work to get people off the streets for rehab. And so they picked this guy up and they said, hey, would you like to reconnect with someone? He said, yeah, actually I would, my sister. So he's being transported into rehab in Ohio. I get a call and it says, hey, Jeff, we've got somebody that wants to reconnect. I'm like, perfect. What's the name? What's the where did she last live? So they got me that, and I said, hey, would you take a 30-second video for me So I immediately typed in the database, located the sister, and I sent her the message the video message they recorded, the 30-second video message, and I sent it to his sister and said, "Would you like to reconnect? We've located your brother." And 15 minutes later, she sends a message back, "Yes, I would." So immediately I pick up the phone. I'm like, "What's the story? What's going on?" She's in tears. She says, "I'm here with my mom. We haven't talked to my brother or seen him in 5 years. We had been calling all the jails trying to locate him, and we couldn't." She said, "He will never be on the streets again." And so what happened was, is he went so we put the two in contact right before he checked in to rehab. And when he got out of rehab, they went and picked him up, and now they live together again. He's off the streets. So just stories like that. We had another story, it was in Manhattan, where a guy, the family hadn't seen a guy in 20 years, and they thought he had died during COVID because Manhattan had a lot of COVID cases. He has since had 3 grandkids, and they lived in Florida, and he's up in Manhattan. So that was really special too. So you get to be a part of these stories and where people have lost contact with one another, and there's someone out there that can help them. The really cool part about this is that this can be done anywhere across the U.S. I don't have to be there, right? So on our website, you can go to it and go to the reconnection form that's there. And anybody, we could walk out on the street now and say, "Hey, would you like to reconnect with someone?" I'm gonna take a 30-second video. You go in and you upload that to the website, type in the name of the person they want to reconnect with, the last known address. It takes 5 minutes. That info comes to me, and then I can start trying to work the magic in locating that person. And I would share that with a volunteer that's out on the streets. So it's a very scalable, across the country, I don't have to be there kind of thing as well.
What drove you to start doing this?
Wow. I saw them on the streets in Athens a few years back. And I think like everybody, I would give them money, and I would come back to my office the next day and they would still be out there. And I thought, I want to take them home. I want them to live with me. I want them to do this, that, and the other, but it's not plausible. It's too many things to take care of. There's too much. It's overwhelming for me as a human to try to think of all the parts that I have to put together to make that happen. And I thought, you know what? These folks don't have a voice. I'm sitting here while I'm watching people walk by them. It's like they don't even care that they're there. I'm like, we've got to have a voice. They need a voice. You know, these cardboard signs that they hold up, you can usually not even read, right? And so I'm like, what can we do to give them a voice? That was the first step. And then the backpacks came into play. Like, let's give you a voice, something that you can carry on your back that you want the world to know, whatever it is. You know, could use a hug. Love me anyways. Any statement they want to share with the world. But the real connection happened when I leaned in Athens, and I thought, I can't do money. I'm gonna hug this guy. I'm gonna reach out, I'm gonna give him a hug. That hug changed everything for me. It got into my heart and into my soul that all these folks want is just to be acknowledged as humans. And how better else can we acknowledge that than by hugging someone that hasn't bathed in 2 weeks, that smells? Nobody wants to do that. But man, when I did, we embraced for 10 minutes. We're both in tears. Like, all because of a hug. It cost me nothing to do that. And so that hug led to a backpack, which led to reconnecting lost loved ones through a job I have and access to public databases. And so that hug I thought I've got to come up with ways to help them. So I focused all of my energy on what do they need? What is it that they really need? And it was, you think about the unsheltered, they're actually hikers. They're hikers, just like hiking, right? The police come in and say, you got to move. They got to get their stuff and move immediately. And a backpack serves that purpose. Because here's the deal. Everything they own is all they can carry. And even then, they worry about their things getting stolen. Even then. And so I thought, let's make a huge backpack. Let's customize it just for the unsheltered. And so that's what I did there. Waterproofing was essential. All that, being out in the elements, all of that. But more importantly, well, not more importantly, but also having a spot to write a message, so you can come out of this isolation, right? And what I found was, and what our mission statement is to end isolation for the unsheltered and the lonely. Now, I can share more about that with you if you'd like.
Go for it. Yeah, plenty of time.
So when we talk about ending isolation, right, that is our goal. And our goal to end isolation comes through this. So when we think about addiction is a disease of isolation. Not many people realize that. Guess what is the opposite of isolation? It's connection. So our vision statement is connecting humanity. Now, think about this with me. What does AA offer? It doesn't offer a magic pill. It offers human connection. People heal that way. They heal through human connection. And I want to take this one step further. What's the fastest way you can connect with a human? To hug them, to bring them in, to embrace them like you love them, because you do love them. How can you not love somebody out there? You're in their living room. That is their home. They're having to bear witness to wearing rags, to being ignored. How better else to embrace someone and show them that you love them through hugging them, fist pumping them, right? So we really focus on that is our first line of going out and saying, man, you're human. We want to acknowledge that. You matter. And those hugs just go right to it. And I can't tell you the amount of hugs I've been in with grown men, bawling, just crying their eyes out and holding that hug for 5, 10, 15 minutes. Because nobody wants to touch them. Nobody wants to acknowledge them. So ending isolation, that is our goal. We don't have goals of ending homelessness, right? There are several other nonprofits that focus on that. That's not our goal. We want to end isolation. We want folks to know it's okay to have a voice. It's okay to be human. It's okay to ask for help.
And just talk to me about, the reaction. You gave a little bit of a reaction of grown men crying because they're getting a hug, but tell us a little bit about what they say when they get this hug, and then on top of that, when they realize somebody from their past that they thought had abandoned them, they had squandered a relationship with, wants to reconnect with them and wants to help them get off the street.
Yeah, so it's... I'll take the second question first. The guy that we got off the street, he sent me a video back, and I can show it to you. He said, Jeff, I was wanting to go to a place where nobody could ever find me again. I wanted to go there, and today you changed that for me. Today you reconnected me with my sister. So it's the hug part of all of this. It brings me to tears a lot of times as well. It forces you to be human. And who doesn't want to be human? Who doesn't want to feel love, right? It costs nothing to do, but I find myself in tears hugging other people. And what they tell me are several stories, right? I thought no one cared. I thought, one guy said, I had somebody walk by me one time. I was on a bench and a guy was with his girlfriend, and he said, don't look at them. Can you imagine you're sitting out there and someone says, don't look at you, how that must feel to someone, and how much that must just tear them apart. So it's very humbling, and it's healing. I encourage people to try this, to not be afraid of people on the street. They are the kindest people that are out there. And you know what? What their biggest thing is when I ask them, how do you find joy? They have the strongest faith that I've ever seen in my life. In Jesus Christ. I believe in Jesus Christ. And it fascinates me. And why do they say that? It's because it's all they have. All they have is what they can carry and what Jesus can offer them. And that is home. And they know that, and they cling to that. So I want to encourage every Christian out there to go out and hug and embrace someone. Just let them know that you love them, that they're wanted, and that Jesus hasn't forgot them. It will be the most powerful thing you can ever do in your life, and I hope it will change you the way it changes me every time I go out.
Excellent. And a lot of folks are going to hear this message, and they're going to be pretty inspired. Tell us how they would get involved.
Yeah, so to get involved, it's real simple. They can go out, just take a pad, and a piece of paper, and write down the person's name. Actually, you know what? It's even simpler. They can go to the letter U, help.life. There is a reconnection form right there. They can do this from their phone, and it will walk them through what they need to do. And it'll take them 5 minutes to do this. And once they do that, that info will come to us. And what we'll do with the volunteers is we'll find if we can locate the person they want to locate, then we'll patch in the volunteer. So the volunteer can actually see the process of how they've helped someone, right? So they go in, they fill out the reconnection form, that gives us all the information we need. So what I would invite people to do was just before they go out to talk or hug with the homeless is just review that reconnection form of what's needed on our website, and that will guide them through the whole process. Mm-hmm. They can do this anywhere in the country.
Excellent. And, is there any hesitancy from people who are on the streets to reconnect with anybody? Are there a lot of people who say, I'd rather...
Absolutely. So know this, as a volunteer, you're going to get a lot of no's. Mm-hmm. I'm not interested. Why is that? Well, they don't have good relationships. They're homeless for a reason. Maybe they don't have anybody to go. They have no family. The family they have doesn't want anything to do with them, and they don't want anything to do with their family. So you're going to get a lot of no's. Matter of fact, it's about 1 in 100 that we get in front of says, yes, I want to reconnect. So it's not a high, so people need to know it's not a high probability thing. But when you do it, and when it happens, it will change your life. So just following the website and the instructions there, gosh, I'd be so honored for people to go out and pick this up and start giving it a try. My additional advice is to get in front of people in bread lines, because that way you're just not going out and seeing one guy on the street. You're at the bread lines where there's hundreds of people waiting to be fed at a local church, a local homeless center, mm-hmm. and all you're doing is asking, hey, would you like to reconnect with a loved one? The guy says no, you just go to the next one until you get a yes. So you just keep trying until you get a yes, and I promise it will change your life as a volunteer, as a human being.
And I imagine, do churches work with you guys, just like whole churches get involved? Because I imagine that's
sure.
a great thing to do. Just, if a church does have, offers meals, any sort of other services, that this is kind of easy thing to add on to.
It's a very easy thing to add on to. Intake workers, social workers that are intaking the homeless. Mm-hmm. You're asking one question, you're adding one question to your repertoire of questions. Would you like to reconnect with a loved one? That's all we're doing. That's it. So a church, an intake volunteer, a veterans shelter, a counselor, all these people that see homeless people on a regular basis, they're already there to offer that one other question, and then they can go to the website. But if you want to volunteer, if you want to step outside your comfort zone and you want to go out on the street, mm-hmm. then you're just adding, maybe you're taking water, maybe you're taking food, and you're just asking that one question. And if you do, you pull up on your phone the website, and man, it just takes care of it. And I will keep you in the loop for sure. If we get, when we get the information, you will know what's taking place with the information you got from the person that wanted to reconnect. We also find that this can work in recovery centers as well, right? This guy that I mentioned the story with, he was going to recovery. He was homeless and going to recovery. Not everybody that's in recovery is homeless, but some of them would like to reconnect, right? And for obvious reasons, maybe the family is just said, hey, we're not interested anymore. But what we find is that over the years, healing can take place. People maybe start to miss one another. Say, hey, I was a different person 10 years ago than I am now. I'd like to reconnect.
Yeah. And I know that you're based mainly in Georgia. Obviously, you've been in Manhattan. What brought you specifically to DC this time?
Yeah, DC is where everything started for me when I was a kid. At age 10, I lived in Kentucky. We took a bus from Kentucky here to DC. We slept on a church gym floor for a week, and we served at a soup kitchen. And it opened my eyes as a 10-year-old to what was going on in the world. We had people here on the streets of DC that needed just food. They needed shelter. And serving, I can remember taking them plates of food and then just looking, just tethered, just looking defeated and thinking, my gosh, these people need help. How in the world is this taking place? As a 10-year-old, it was just eye-opening. So fast forward, as I'm seeing homelessness over the years, and I'm like, I got to come back to where this all started, to where it started when I was 10-year-old.
And it's been a journey to get up here. I know because of snow, everything is just made it difficult, but you stuck to it.
Yeah, stuck to it. Flew up here, got a rental car, put 500 backpacks in a minivan. And have been walking around the city and just hugging on people, loving on people, telling them that Jesus has not forgot them. I think that's an important message, because if anybody could think that, it could be them. But I want to testify to their story, that their faith keeps them. They are some of the most faithful believers in the world.
And what is the response from some of these local organizations that you guys have worked with, dropped off backpacks with? What do they think of this kind of stuff? Because I imagine it's overwhelmingly positive.
Absolutely, it is overwhelmingly positive. They love the idea of them having a place to write on the backpack to share their stories. They love the idea of giving them something that in a month, 2 months, 5, 6 months down the road, they're still going to have this backpack, right? It's not a meal. It's not socks, which they need greatly, but it's something that's going to stick with them. So they see that this has been a well thought out, well thought through kind of what we're doing. They see that, and it resonates with them. They see that I've taken the time to go out and have these custom made for them. And so it really speaks for itself when they understand it just right away. It's just like, wow, it's wow. And I'm so blessed because people invite me in to their organizations, and to know that I can go anywhere in the world and people invite me in. It's just so comforting, and it makes me feel so much more human that I'm accepted and I'm wanted as well.
Excellent. Anything else you'd like our listeners to know?
I'd like them to know that it costs nothing to be human. Zero. It costs nothing. And if you're worried about your time, go out for 5 minutes. The next guy you see when you're walking down the street that's homeless, take 2 minutes, 1 minute out of your time and just embrace him and tell him he's not forgotten and that he's wanted. They can change the world that way if everybody did that. If everybody did that, costs nothing. I would invite and I would challenge people to do that.